Can you hear me? Hey. So I'm back. And this is going to be like a part 2 to my last video. And I'm going to start out by saying you are bigger than your environment and you are bigger than what you think. I live like by a train and stuff, so might hear trains, might hear cars passing and stuff like that, but I just wanted to be outside because it's sunny, period. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to be talking about some things from Joe Dispenza's teachings, and this is about how to manifest and just like the realization of yourself and your power and who you are. So let's get into it. So I have notes. I have hella notes, and I got my notes from this breakdown of this other YouTuber. His name is Grant. His last name starts with a T. I can't really pronounce it, but I'm just going to share this because I feel like this literally blew my mind. Like, this literally blew my mind, and it gave me so much clarity as to like just manifesting and being in the energy and all of that stuff. Everything that I already talk about on my channel. So let's get into it. So there are 3 constructs that anchor you into this physical reality, into your experience, which is your body, your environment, and your time. I hope that the cars going past is not like distracting. But yeah, so you have your body, your environment, and your time. And these are the 3 constructs that keeps you anchored into a program and into a familiar experience. It keeps you anchored into the reality that you are trying to move on from, or that you are trying to transcend from. So basically, if you are looking to your outer world and outer experiences for any sort of validation, you are operating on a very low percentage of the spectrum that you could actually be operating on. I think I'm about to go get my mic. Hold on. All right, so I looked at it back, so I think y'all could hear me. I'm gonna need to go get it. So okay, so basically what your environment looks like, everybody a lot of people use their external environment to dictate like some sort of validation for themselves. And your environment is literally 0.0001% of the spectrum that you are experiencing. And the 99.999% of our experience is actually a spiritual experience. It's actually within something that's called the electron cloud. And this just basically means that if you are looking, see the train. This just basically means that if you are looking to your external environment for any sort of validation, you are operating on a very low scale of what you can be getting in your experience on a full spectrum. So when we look at it, stay with me, y'all. Stay with me, because it's gonna get deep. So yeah, so 99.9% of our experience is actual consciousness, which is God energy, which is the totality of what we are actually experiencing. And when we meditate, the goal is to have no body, no mind, no time, and no environment. And this is a place where you actually start to detach from the physical things that anchor us into this low frequency experience, this 3D experience, and it allows us to enter our natural state, our quantum infinite potential state. And to step into this quantum field and this infinite intelligence, because that's all the quantum field is. All the quantum field is just infinite potential and infinite information, and it's being transmitted in and out of space and time, and it exists outside of the constructs of space and time, because the physical world is what gives us the space, is what gives us the time and the physical construct. So basically, when we meditate, we are detaching from the things that anchor us into this reality. That way we can go into the quantum field of infinite intelligence and infinite potential to create the things that we want to create. And when we do that, we start to become bigger than the experience that we are having. And that is the sensation that we're going for. We want to be able to overcome our experiences, and to, like, manifestation is literally just overcoming your environment and like being able to create something from literally nothing, from a thought, from an energy, you know? So the goal is to be no longer defined by your environment, and to have a grander sense of self. And we want a grander sense of self because when we look at the environment and we are observing and interacting with our environment and like familiar experiences, and allowing that that cycle of, we are allowing that cycle and that subconscious programming to validate our experience, then we're only going to experience that of what is equal to the external environment. So like, we are only going, if you are looking to your environment and your external situation as a way to validate you, you are only going to be able to experience what you are already experiencing. Like, and your external environment is the past. It's literally the past. You are consciously, you are constantly, and you are always creating your reality. As we are living, you are creating your reality every second, every moment. So you looking to your external for any sort of validation it's like a oxymoron. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, this is why, like, when you question, like, this is why, like, when you look to your external environment to change something, to manifest something, it's like a pause in the universe. It's like a blockage or something, because it's like you're not going with the actual flow of the universe. You're not actually going with the Tao of the universe, and that is going with the flow. It's like you going against the grain, basically. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but I'm gonna keep going because it's going to start to make sense. So if you look into your external, you're only going to experience that equal proportion to the environment in the physical world. But as soon as you can overcome your environment, you can overcome that job that you hate, you can overcome the group of friends that don't align with you, you can overcome that bad relationship, because you realize that those things aren't defining you, because you have a concept of the quantum you. You are no longer defined by the things outside of you. So when it comes to the mirror principle, that is talking about mind over matter. Mind over matter. Everybody has heard of mind over matter. That's basically the mirror principle of just saying that internally you create the external world. Matter is just the physical world, the external world, and your mind is what creates this. And then there's another aspect of it, and that is the causal and effect plane. The causal and effect plane. And usually people are always trying to change the effect part of the plane, but that is backwards, because you are the one who controls the effect. Like, it's like if somebody wants to make more money or whatever, they try to go out and do all of this like external work or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you can get it like that, you know what I'm saying? But if you didn't change anything internally, you're constantly gonna have to go to the external to get the material things that you want. When you're constantly, hold on, I'm gonna come back. Basically, you're constantly creating a cycle for yourself to work backwards, because everything starts internally. So if you're going outside of yourself first, then it's always going to feel like a resistance, because like I was saying, it's an oxymoron to go outside of yourself and tap into the 0.0001% of what you are experiencing to manifest something bigger. 99.9% of our experience is a spiritual experience. It is the quantum experience, and that is the energy that you need to tap into. And it's really just doing the inner work and going within to change yourself. Then your external world will change. That's why like people who win the lottery and stuff like that, they end up going broke like 2 to 3 years later, because they didn't change. Yes, something in their external world changed, but they didn't actually change their internal. So they weren't able to they weren't in the identity of somebody who can hold $3 million. So they reverted back to an identity of a person who only makes like, I don't know, $22 an hour, and they ended up sabotaging the experience because they didn't do the inner work to change themselves to be able to hold that amount of abundance. Okay, so the physical world is only 0.0001% of the experience, and I really want that to stick, because it's like, that means that you literally that means that you are bigger than your experience. That means that you literally have the power to manifest whatever you want. Like, you are more powerful than your experience. You cannot allow the things that you are going through to dictate or validate anything about yourself and like your life and what you can or cannot do, because the physical world is literally 0.0001% of the experience. Because on the basic subatomic level of the universe, everything comes down to the electron cloud, which is the 99.9% of energy. And I just want that to stick, because like, I feel like the numbers really give a real perspective on how powerful you actually are. If you are operating on an electron cloud, which is 99.9%, this is you. Like, it's not like this is absolutely you, whether you know it or not, whether you know that you are creating your reality or not. You are, because you are 99.9% of the energy, how it's being manifested, and everything else in your external world is literally 0.1%. Like, bro, that shit blew my mind, because it's like, bro, what the fuck? So we need to stay on the causal plane. How I was saying, there's a causal and effect plane, and people are always like, people are always trying to change the effect plane to manifest or whatever. You have to stay on the causal plane, because this is where all of the shift is going to happen. It's like back to what I was saying about the money thing. It's like, money is only an effect. Money is only an effect of you doing internal work. That is like, bro, anybody who has mastered like abundance in this material world has mastered themselves spiritually first. And don't be fucking fooled, because some people can get things in the material world, but it has no longevity. A lot of these like influencers and celebrities and stuff, they're broke. They don't have money. You know why? Because they are chasing clout. They are chasing an image. They are chasing something outside of themselves. So yes, it looks like they have all of this material things or whatever the case may be, but on an internal level, it's not there. It's not there. And this is why, like, they'll come to people like us, like people like me, or like anybody else who like has this type of knowledge, because it'll help them like break those break that cycle of constantly searching for external validation to get something internally. And I'm not saying that Tora, was that Nova? It's my cat. Hold on, look. I hope y'all saw it. But okay, anyways. So yeah, oh yeah, so I'm not saying that you can't manifest if you're not like spiritually in tune, because you see it all the time. You see how people who like just operate on a negative, low vibration end up getting like all of this shit, and like, you know what I'm saying, they end up like having a lot of like material success and stuff like that. But eventually that shit is like, that shit does not last at all. It doesn't last. And yeah, so like you could do all of that clout chasing shit, but you're working 10 times harder, bro. You're working 10 times harder. You're being performative, and that's what I want to break. I'm about passion, purpose, authenticity, and not being performative, truly being yourself and being able to attain the abundance of the world, of whatever you want in this world. Because a lot of y'all look up to people who have this material abundance, but they are not fulfilled for real. They are still depressed. They are still mad, upset. This is why they make the content that they make. This is why they have to be performative. They have to do the most to even get to get the things that they are getting. And it might be in their I don't think that's in anybody's nature. It might be in their nurture about how they grew up and what they was around and shit like that. But nobody wants to have to like be negative all the time and do all of that shit. People are brainwashed, bro. People are brainwashed to think that they want to do that, or that's cool, or that's funny and stuff like that. But they end up being drained and depressed. You see it all the time. But let's just keep going. So meditation is very important to create that gap of like impulse and action, because whenever you are like recreating an experience that you don't want, it's just because there's an impulse that happens, and then that makes you have a reaction to it. And a reaction means that you already had that experience. You already reacted like that. So like meditation will create that gap. Like I said, it'll detach you from your external experience and allow you to really tap into your quantum you, your most powerful self, so that you can actually change. And meditation creates that space to where as though you can actually slow down and come into the present moment, so that you can make a different choice, so that you can start to see things from a different perspective, and truly realize that whatever you're feeling was just an impulse, and it's literally just a chemical in your brain signaling to you an energetic and emotional response that might be something that you've attached the identity of lack and scarcity to. So when you experience something, you automatically want to like react in a negative way, or like you automatically it honestly don't even always have to be in a negative way. It could just be in a way that doesn't serve you anymore, and that is just coming from a version of you that is in lack and scarcity, because that is something that that is your body trying to keep you in a familiar time, because keep you in a familiar state, because that is what your mind is there for. Your brain isn't to like make you happy. Your brain is to keep you safe. So like, of course, when you try to go into a new timeline or whatever, it's going to have thoughts that are going to try to prevent you from fulfilling that. And this is why you have to be bigger than your experience. This is why you have to be bigger. You control your mind. Your mind doesn't control you, and your mind is only there to keep you safe. So it's normal if you like, all right, I'm about to make my first 6 figures this year, and your brain is like, no, you're not, because that seems like a new experience. That seems scary. You don't know, like, you can't project what a new experience will be from a previous experience. So to your brain, that feels scary. That feels new. You know what I'm saying? So yes, your brain is going to try to stop you from doing that. That's normal. So like, when you can perceive it like that and stop allowing your brain to give you fear and all of this type of shit, then you can move forward. So yeah, so if we don't come off of the biological response of fight or flight, then we will stay on the infinite loop of that program that I was just talking about, and we won't be able to exercise our right as a conscious creator. Like, this is our birthright. Our birthright is to be here, to be great and have abundance. And you can't do that staying stuck in a negative loop. Can't. So you have to get out of that loop so that you can exercise your birthright of being a conscious creator. Someone who can shift into the identity that welcomes wealth, money, abundance, and success. And your mind only wants to accept things that protect it, which is a fight or flight or survival mechanism. So if the idea of you experiencing more success, of stepping out and having, so if the idea of you experiencing a lot more success, of stepping out of having a job, and becoming an entrepreneur, or if you already an entrepreneur and you're wanting to scale your business higher, it can feel scary because you're stepping into the unknown. You're stepping into unknown territories. And regardless, like, even though you know, like, okay, if I make more money, if I become an entrepreneur, I will have more success. I will be more aligned with my passions. I'll be more aligned with my gifts and my soul's purpose. Your previous experiences doesn't support that, because your previous experience haven't experienced that. So it's going to feel scary. So it's going to feel like, damn, can I do this, or da da da? But you cannot give in to that. You have to be bigger than your experience. And when this information actually clicks, it'll be easier to actually, like, be bigger than your experiences, and it'll be easier for you to overcome challenges and overcome those mental blocks. And Joe Dispenza talks about overcoming our mind, time, which is the same, our mind and our time, and body and environment, because those are the 3 things that anchors us into a familiar experience. So time is your time, and like / mind is how quick you want something to happen, and like the expectation of what you want it to look like. And remember, these are the things that are anchoring us into a familiar experience. Our body is the chemical response of what happens when you get thrown into a familiar situation. And if you want to make more money and you step into a new identity and you get scared and experience like fear and lack and scarcity and like doubt and stuff like that, you step back into an older identity, into a familiar identity, because of that fear and stuff like that. And you won't really be able to step into the version of you that is able to make more money, is able to have more success and more wealth. Because when you step into that identity and you feel that fear, then you start reverting back to that old timeline. And I talk about this in a lot of my videos. Like, stay on the timeline. You have to stay on the timeline regardless of what your external circumstances are showing you. Stay in the timeline. And like, me learning this now is helping me break it down much more, because like a lot of the information that I talk about is really intuitive, but like when you add the scientific part of it, it really clicks, because it's like, all right, all right, fuck the external environment, fuck anybody, fuck fear, fuck all of that shit, you know? Like, I'ma stay in the timeline. I'ma still be who I want to be regardless of my external situation. And when you understand that your body is literally just trying to keep you in a familiar state or whatever, you can overcome that because you are aware of it. Once you become aware of something, you can actually do something about it, and you can actually make a different choice and change and overcome the things that are holding you hostage to a place that you don't want to stay in. And then your environment, become bigger than your environment and have a grander sense of self, because if you identify with the environment, then your self is equal to your environment. It's like, if I was like around, like, I'm a fucking Virgo, so I like clean spaces and stuff like that. So if I was around like a bunch of like messy, like just nasty shit or whatever the case may be, and I don't feel grander than my experience, then I would probably just like stay there and just feel like nasty about myself and just like allow my external world to just like basically reflect onto me, when really I'm reflecting onto it. That's the whole kill. Like you think that your environment is reflecting onto you, but really you are reflecting onto your environment. So how I would become bigger than my environment is literally getting up and leaving, or doing something like cleaning up and like fixing the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have more control. You are more powerful than you actually think. And like, it's just like, bruh, we know this already. We know that you know that your external does not define nothing about yourself. You could be the most fucking demure ass person, and you could be around the most ratchet ass people. Does that mean that you're ratchet too now? Does that mean just because this is in your external environment, this is what's in your environment, that you just automatically become that? Stop identifying with the things outside of you. Know who you are and have power within that. So now we're getting into the map of consciousness. Alright, so this is deep, y'all. So this video might be a little long, but stay with me, alright? So the map of consciousness, which is frequency of emotion, energy, and awareness. So at the top of the map of consciousness is authenticity, which is Tao, like I was talking about before. That's just the flow, the natural flow of the universe. That is pure consciousness. And then at the bottom of the map of consciousness is anger and fear. Yeah, so it's anger and fear. So if you're trying to step into a new identity and you're feeling resistance, that's because your energy and body is trying to stay in what's familiar. Your body is trying to protect itself. Your body is going in a state of fight or flight, which is survival mode, which is going to try to stop you from entering this new thing and get you to stay where you are, because it's comfortable. It's comfort. Like, you know, exactly, like the whole reason why people end up like even though it might be a situation where they're broke, they down bad, or whatever the case may be, and they stay in that environment, is because it's comfortable. They know what's gonna happen. Like, they know that they could let's just say like you broke as fuck, and I'm only speaking from experience for real, because that's the only thing I could fucking speak from. Let's just say, and like intuition, but let's just say you broke as fuck, right? And you always, you can afford your favorite cheap little meals, dinners, or whatever the case may be. You you can just go in your parents' house or whatever the case may be and just, chill out and just, watch TV, just stay like that. When it comes to wanting to, like, let's say, be an entrepreneur and make your first 6 figures or whatever the case may be, your body is going to try to prevent you from doing that, because now you are going from, there is a benefit in you being broke, because you don't gotta do shit. You comfortable. You are fucking comfortable. You don't gotta work. You don't gotta think too much. You don't gotta really put yourself out there. You don't really gotta apply yourself. And people could get stuck in that like thing, to where as though it's like, all right, now I'd rather just work this job because I know it's a guaranteed check. I know it's guaranteed. But when you enter entrepreneurship, it's truly a spiritual journey. It's truly a spiritual experience. If you are an entrepreneur, you know that it's a spiritual journey. Like you can't be an entrepreneur and not have faith. You have to have the most unwavering faith about yourself. You got to believe in yourself. And if you don't, that is going to reflect in your business. That is going to reflect in your pay and everything, and your income and everything. So it's truly a spiritual thing. And people, it's uncomfortable to have to look at yourself and say, all right, this is where I'm doing bad. This is the reason why. Because when you are an entrepreneur, everything is your fault. Everything is your fault. And this is how life is, because anything in your life that you don't like is because of you. So if you're the type of person who's like a victim in your life, like, bro, nobody gives a fuck. Like, I'm here to tell you, nobody gives a fuck about whatever you're going through or whatever the case may be, because we all have to take autonomy of our own lives. Like, we all going through shit. Like, the fuck? We all have the opportunity to put ourselves in certain environments, even if it's on an online environment. So it's like, even if it's on an online environment, you don't know where to go, like, in this world or whatever, to be around the people that you need to be around. Follow the people on Instagram that you see. Like, bro, like you have more fucking control than what you think. And you have to be able to take that autonomy over yourself, because that is the only way anything in your life is going to change. If you keep delegating all of your fucking miseries and just like your dislikes of your life, if you keep delegating that shit to everything outside of you, then you will never have control over your life. You will never be able to overcome anything in your life, because everything is somebody else's fault or something else's fault. It's because of this, it's because of that. No, bitch, it's because of you. Like, clock that T. All right, so let's keep going. So yeah, if you're trying to step into a new reality, your body and your mind is going to try to stop you from doing that, because it's comfortable. And if you want a new life and a new identity, you have to learn to let go and to operate in more love for yourself and for life. You have to learn how to really like release and delegate the things that you don't want to God. Okay? Because like, just answer this question for me. How can a previous experience create a new experience? How? Answer that. It can't. It literally can't. It doesn't make sense. So if you're trying to go into a new experience and you are like thinking about what happened and thinking about what could happen, like, bitch, you don't know. All you know is what the fuck you feel. And if you feel like I should do this, of course there's going to be fear that comes up, because I just talked about that. But you have to follow through, because you don't know until you get to the other side. You truly don't know until you get to the other side, because your previous experiences can't tell you that, because they don't fucking know. All your previous experience knows is the experience that it had. So yeah, you literally cannot predict a new experience based on your previous experience, because your goal is to overcome your previous experience and welcome a new one. You have to be open to welcome a new one. If like you can't be like closed off to that shit and then be wanting to have a new experience, because you're not welcoming it. It's being a good what's it called? Being a good host to your new experience. Welcome it. Make it feel at home. You know what I'm saying? As much as you can, as much as you possibly can. And that'll, like, the more you try to bypass that fear and stuff, it'll get easier and easier. Because like, I'm all about the effortless way, but in order for you to get to a new point, you have to try. You have to fucking try. Y'all don't be giving shit a real chance before you give up. You, because of your previous experience, because of your familiar experience, you don't give shit a real try because you don't know. But like, the whole point is that you want a new experience and you don't know. Like, that's the whole fucking point. So you have to be open. You have to be you have to let go. And so yeah, so when we talk about frequency is what you frequently see. So to change the frequency, you have to change the frequency to step into the new version of you. Yeah, so the world and your reality is based on the frequency that you hold internally, and it's about who you are. It's about who you are, and it's about your state of being. It's not even about who you are becoming, because like, becoming is like, I'm becoming. No, it's who you are. You can choose right now. You can fucking choose right now. You have that power. You forgot? You have that power. You could choose right now. It's about who you are in the state of being that you are deciding to operate in. And that is what will attract the things that you want. So back to the map of consciousness. When you look at this map of consciousness, and if you haven't seen my video, more awareness, more consciousness, more awareness, or something like that, and it's about the timeline split, go watch that video too, because I really got in depth. And like, if you like, bro, write notes, like, on God, write notes, because this shit is going to help you. It's going to help the neural pathways in your brain connect more and connect a lot faster when you write things down, like physically write it down. But like, when you look at this down here, so you see at the bottom where there's anger and fear, and that is what is projecting onto the world. So the world isn't projecting onto you. And then at the top is authenticity and the Tao, which is the pure consciousness, and that's reflecting, you know, the light and the abundance of the world. And that is the perspective that's the lens that you are seeing the world in, and that is what you are experiencing. And the bottom is the fear and the doubt and the anger and stuff like that. And that is you projecting that onto the world, because you are so identified with your experiences and what happened to you and this and what this person did to you and all of this type of shit. And that is the lens that you are looking through the world with. Okay? So this is why God, faith, and spirituality has to come first for you to be in alignment. It has to. It's not a negotiation. It's not a negotiation. Okay? So the only work that you can do in your life is internal work. Only work you can do in your life is internal work, which will affect every aspect of your life, because your perception is your life. Your perspective is your life. Your lens that you're looking through is your life. This is why you see people who, they're like so happy and stuff like that. They're seeing the world through that lens. And you can't be mad. You can't be mad. And you think it's fake and all of this type of shit. No, it's not fake. It's just you don't really believe that because of your own experiences that you have yet to overcome. And once you overcome, you'll get it. Like, it's like the girls who get it, and the girls who don't. Like, if you want to be fucking having the perspective of lack, then that is what you will experience in your life. And you can't be mad because other people are experiencing something different, because now granted, people have different experiences. So some people might have that lens because they haven't been through that much, though, all of those hard experiences that you have experienced. But those experiences that you've had is where your power lies. Like one of the very first feminine flow classes that I've had because I'm a dance alchemist, and I'm a dancer, and I'm a dance teacher. And one of the very first classes that I had was beauty in your darkness. And the darkness and the experiences and the rough times that you go through are really the fabric of your existence. They are what really makes you who you are. They are what makes you very beautiful and just so, like, honestly magnetic when you learn how to alchemize it and learn how to integrate that within your being in essence, and not allow it to just overtake you. Like, you learn how to integrate it because there are lessons that are learned within your experience. When you are able to integrate that and alchemize that into wisdom and into more love and light, then you are very powerful. You are very, very powerful. And honestly, that makes you more powerful than somebody who hasn't really had that many, like, experiences that are low, because you have more wisdom. You have more of a texture. So honor your experiences. Don't allow them to define you in a negative way. So, yeah. So God, faith, and spirituality comes first because it is your guide to alignment. And you start to realize that it's bigger than the materials of the world. Why you are here is bigger than the materials of the world. It's bigger than that car that you want. It's bigger than you wanting to move into the biggest house. It's bigger than you wanting to fucking go on tour and be like have all this money and all this type of shit. Yes, you can still want to do that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's bigger than that. And your true purpose is to be you authentically. It is to be you authentically at your most just self-loving self. You authentically. And all you can do is influence your perspective and how you respond to things and alchemize negative situations and rise above it. So yeah, your frequency is what you frequently see, and it's not a physical experience. What you frequently see is not a physical experience, because that is only 0.0001% of the spectrum of energy, or the spectrum of consciousness and emotion that you are experiencing. Keep that in mind, bro. Keep that in mind. I think I emphasized it like enough, but yeah. So I'm gonna say that one more time though. Your frequency is what you frequently see, and what you frequently see is not a physical experience, because that is only 0.0001% of the spectrum of energy, or the spectrum of consciousness and emotion. And emotion is just energy and motion, which is 99.9% of the energy, which is your consciousness. So keep yourself in alignment with the reality that you want to experience, which goes back to the mirror principle. If you shift the internal world, the external world has no choice but to reflect that. So yeah, if you want to experience more wealth, abundance, and success, you have to align with the highest frequency, which is the Tao, the effortless way of the universe, which is just the nature of the universe, the pure energy that is actually everywhere, everything, all at once and all the time, because it is the backbone of the material experience. And we just can't see it because it is the spiritual aspect. It is the consciousness. But don't you see? You just can't see it, but don't you see it, and don't you feel? So we are observing what we want to experience. And I talked about this in like a lot of my other videos, of how when you shift your perspective, when you shift your awareness to what you want, that is when your life will start to change. That is when you will start to see the things that you want to have in your life. Because like this fucking marker, if I fucking throw it behind me, it doesn't fucking exist because it's not in my awareness. Literally. But now, since it's right here, this is what I want to use. I got it. It's in my awareness. This is what I'm experiencing. I'm experiencing this marker right now because it's in my awareness. If I fucking throw it across the fucking land and I can't see that shit no more, does that really mean that it's non-existent? No, it doesn't mean that it's non-existent, but it means that it's not existing in my world because I don't fucking see it, right? And so you want to, that was just like a very basic like example just so that it could like kind of click. But like when you want to change something in your world, you have to change your perspective. You have to change how you perceive things that happen in your life. If you can't perceive something that negative happened in your life, of course you can't have your experience, of course. Like, I'm not saying if something negative happens in your life, then you just be like, it's positive. I mean, you can do that, and you'll probably experience a much more positive life. But, like, that's all on you. You know what I'm saying? But you have control. The whole thing is that you have control. You have fucking control over how you want to receive information and take it in, and how you're going to learn from that. Like, if something negative happens for you, then you learn from that experience and you alchemize it into something positive and say, hey, I'm going to go help somebody with this. I'm going to go teach somebody something that I learned from my experience. I'm going to go inform people on my experience so that they don't go through the same thing. I'm going to take this experience and do something with it, alchemize it, or I'm not going to identify with it. I know that this experience has nothing to do with me, or not that it doesn't have anything to do with you, but that it doesn't define you. And the highest frequency, one of the highest frequencies that you could operate on is service. That is selflessness, because the most scarce and lack-minded thing that you could do is worry about yourself. That is the most lack and scarce-minded thing that you can do. And when you can become selfless and be of service and to help somebody else, then that is a very high frequency, and you will be bestowed with the gifts and abundance that God has promised to you, because you are not just taking your experiences, you are not just having your experiences and just identifying with it and just giving a fuck about yourself and just like being in a pity party and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you are taking that experience and being of service to others. You are taking the knowledge that you are learning and being of service to others. And that is a form of being selfless. How we were saying, you have to be expansive over your experiences. Expansive. You have to expand your concept of yourself. That is becoming more selfless, because the more, like, going back to meditation, when you meditate, you become a grander sense of yourself, because you are tapping into the quantum you, which is a selfless you, which is you going back to no thing, which gives you everything. This is why that phrase of wanting nothing gives you everything, or expecting nothing gives you everything, is because when you are no thing, you are actually everything. What is God? God is that 99.999% of the energy, and that is no thing. It's not something that we can actually see, but it is something that actually makes up everything. It is, and that And on that subatomic level, it is something that connects us to everything. And this experience, this physical experience is like crumbs to your real experience. And when you become more selfless, you become a grander sense of yourself, because you are tapping into that no thing, which is actually connected to everything, which is God. And yeah, so if you want everything, you have to become no thing, and that is where service comes in. And you give yourself and your gifts and be selfless. And whenever you have fear and worry that is not what you want to experience, you give it to God, and you work in partnership, and you delegate those fears and those worries to God, because those are not for you to handle. Sometimes you can't handle that shit, okay? That's not for you to handle. You delegate that to God. That is where faith comes in. And yes, you work in partnership, and you change your perspective so that you can stay in alignment and in awareness of what you really want. And the fatal tale to people being on this journey and getting the material things in life is that when you start to identify with the effect, which is the money, which is the riches, which is the clout, which is all of the material things, your car, your phone, your watch, your bust down, all of that shit, you start to identify with that. This is the fatal tale. You start to destroy what you've created, because it's actually your devotion to the Most High. It's actually your devotion to your highest calling and frequency, which is God. And it's your devotion to the highest version of yourself, which is God, that gives you all of this. So don't get up in the plane of the effect, because it's an illusion. It's a fucking illusion. Like I said, it's 0.0001%. That means you can manifest anything that you want. You can have anything that you want. Anything. Like, this shit ain't nothing. Shit ain't nothing. So be fruitful and multiply, and be like nature. And God planted a seed within you, and you are here to be fruitful. You are already fruitful, and multiply. You have to know this. And I'm so glad that I was able to, oh my gosh, a freaking ladybug just landed. It like just flew over here so chaotically, and it like landed on its back, and then it flipped over. Hey, boo. But yeah, I'm so happy that I got to share this, because the first video I didn't really get to get into it. But yeah, this shit really fucking blew my mind. And I hope that you enjoy this video. I hope that it reaches all of the right people, and that you understand that you are bigger than your experiences. You are bigger than what you think. You are grand. You are fucking powerful and magical and amazing. Ooh, I don't want to smack you. Don't fly in my face now. But yes, so that is it for this. I love you. Peace. Also, I dropped my Divine Feminine Magnetism Energetic Perfume course. This is for the Divine Feminine, or just if you want to tap more into your feminine energy, more into your receptive energy, into that energy of ease and just flow and just your authentic nature, then definitely check out that course, because it has honestly changed my life just from creating it, and I'm so passionate about it. And I will be adding more modules and lessons to it as time goes on and as I just continue to learn. And yeah, so I'll see you in the next one. Peace.